Today I want to talk about why my husband and I chose to homeschool. So a couple of years ago, we used to actually send our kids to school, to a Christian private school, and the amount of time that we spent apart was just painful. Really the only quality time that we got to spend together was on weekends, and that just wasn't enough for us. The kids would go to school at 7:30 a.m. every morning and get home around 4:30, depending on what day of the week it was. If there was some extracurricular activity like piano lessons or something else, then it was even later. And then by the time evening rolled around, everyone got home from school, work, and we really just had time to eat dinner, do some homework, and then it was bedtime already. I always loved bedtime and prayer time in the evenings because that was really the only time where everyone just stopped what they're doing. We all gathered together in either one of the kids' rooms or in the living room or in the dining room, wherever. But we would all gather together, and that was really the only time that we just stopped, looked into our kids' eyes, and actually had a conversation with them. And we got to spend some time reading a book to them, the Bible, and just praying together and having that moment to be together. From the viewpoint of a mother, back in those years, that was probably the most fulfilling time of day for me, where I actually got to spend some time with my children. And that feeling of disconnect was getting very real for me. I thought to myself, well, when is there time for life to actually do some living, spending quality time together, getting to know my kids' personalities, getting to know what makes them laugh, what makes them smile, what are their interests, what do they like to do, what makes them happy. Because 3 hours a day or less to spend with them in the evenings after school was just not enough for me. And that feeling of disconnect grew even more because I don't blame them, they were so little. So when I would ask them, like, hey, what are you learning in school today? How was your day? They'd be like, it was fine. So what did you learn? I don't remember. I mean, they were so little. It's totally understandable, but that just made me feel even more disconnected because I'm their mother and I don't even know what's going on in school, what they're learning or anything like that. This feeling of discontent as a mother just continued to grow because I felt like I wanted to nurture them, to care for them, but I couldn't do that. How could I nurture them when they are away from home for the majority of the day? The fact that I wasn't there to see their personalities forming and taking shape, and just watching them as they discover the beautiful world around them. I wanted to be there for all of that, but how can you be when they're in school for so many hours in the day? And then another thing that kind of started bothering me is when we would have parent-teacher conferences and we would meet with the teachers were wonderful, and they would, let us know our kids' accomplishments, their strengths, things that they needed to work on. But it just makes you think, like, you're the parent and here's the teacher, technically a stranger, who is with your child the majority of the day, and they are telling you information about your child. So it didn't sit well with me. Then when COVID happened, our Christian private school had to quickly switch over to online classes from home, and that's when life truly started happening for our family. We got to start spending more time together, just being around each other 24/7 basically. And we started really getting to know one another's personalities, spending quality time together. And it was really great to see the kids just navigating through this new routine of spending all day with their parents and siblings rather than with their classmates every day. Especially during the quarantine, when even my husband got to stay home with us from work. And he went and got a huge bouncy house and set it up in our tiny little living room, and we just had the time of our lives. We just really enjoyed being together, eating each mealtime together. We started taking lots of walks, lots of bike rides, lots of outdoor time, and it felt like we finally had time to truly live life. Yet surprisingly, at that point, we still didn't make that decision to switch to homeschool. My husband had mentioned several times that he thought that I would do a good job at homeschooling our children, but I kind of didn't take that seriously. I was like, no, if I homeschool them, I'm probably going to mess them up somehow, not teach them properly, or I had all this fear that kept me from starting homeschool. So at that point, our plan was still to re-enroll our kids into the Christian private school for the following school year. And we knew we wanted something to change in our lifestyle, but I don't think we truly understood yet what we wanted, let alone how to make it happen. Around that time, we listed our very first home for sale, and we were very pleasantly surprised when it sold very quickly, despite the whole COVID uncertainty. This was literally around that March, April 2020 time. One day while touring properties, we visited the house that would be our next home. The family that lived there currently had a wonderful garden filled with vegetables, herbs, fruit bushes, and fruit trees, and lots of beautiful flowers. While touring that home, my husband and I were very impressed by all that family was able to do on that tiny quarter-acre lot. They had ducks, they had chickens, they had bunnies for meat, they had different kinds of flowers, herbs, vegetables, fruits, bunch of things growing, and I was just so impressed by all that they were able to squeeze into that little lot. We really admired their homeschool room, this little sewing space that the wife had, and it all just, that atmosphere in that home, it all just felt so wholesome. And we realized that's what we want. That's the kind of lifestyle that we want to pursue. And immediately right there during that home tour, I decided for myself that I'm going to agree with my husband, and we need to make that switch to homeschool because that's what's right for our family. Once we closed on that house and moved in, we began our own journey trying to be a little bit more self-sustained. So we got some chickens, started gardening and harvesting our own fruits and veggies, our own eggs, and we officially began homeschooling our children. It felt like our eyes were opened and a new refreshing chapter began for us. We started learning new skills as we went and teaching them to our children. Today, through homeschooling, our children know the basics on how to start a garden, how to cultivate healthy soil, how to take care of baby chicks, care for chickens, the basics on cooking and baking, and our oldest daughter has actually shown interest in that. She is very interested in always helping me in the kitchen, and she is also learning more about how to home make, how to run a household, how to make things not just function, but very cozy as well. Our oldest son knows how to mow the lawn and do some things with cars, fix up things around the house, and so much more just by being at home and by observing and learning hands-on. Our oldest son has also discovered that he has a love for music, and he spends a lot of time playing piano. Our oldest daughter learned that she loves to write her own stories and she really enjoys making comics. And our younger daughter just loves to wear her little backpack and explore the outdoors and play for most of the day, learning through nature. And all this was made possible just because we made this huge, but at the same time very simple decision that we just wanted to be together, and thus discovering that homeschool was the best choice for our family. Though we knew right away that we loved homeschooling, unfortunately my husband still had to continue working away from the home. He would get up and leave early and come home really late in the evenings. We knew that we did not want my husband to continue this kind of work for a long time because we wanted to be together. We wanted to be fully by each other's side, raising the kids and homeschooling together, and both of us being present, not just me. At that time, we did not have the resources to accomplish such a thing. So we started seeking the Lord, and we prayed for several months for God to work out a miracle, for something to happen where my husband would be able to stay home with us. And after several months of praying and seeking, God answered our prayers. And the way that it was answered, it was amazing. It came completely unexpected, completely unplanned. Like I said, we did not have the resources to do it ourselves. And now my husband is full-time staying at home with us, and we're able to accomplish that dream that we've always had for us to be by each other's side at home with our children. And the way that God worked everything out, I know it happened this unexpected way so that we would know 100% that this was not our own doing, that this was the Lord. The longer we homeschool and the more we look around our world, the more we realize our modern day culture truly does so much damage to families. There's this whole system of separating families from morning till evening, day after day. Husband and wives are encouraged to seek their own separate career paths, dive deep, and commit themselves to their careers. Kids have no time for a fulfilling, joyful childhood because they are at school all day and they are pushed to study hard because the ultimate goal is college and then a career just like their parents before them. And of course, this kind of living pattern will cause a disconnect between parents and children as well as between husbands and wives. Since we started our homeschooling journey and my husband has been able to stay home with us full time, I have been so grateful, so fulfilled, so overjoyed to homeschool our children for the past 4 years. The only thing I regret is how quickly the time passes. I always get nostalgic remembering the very first year of homeschool, how we were just discovering how to be together all day, every day, how to really function as a family, and discovering that this is truly what we want to be doing. Spending day in and day out together as a family, doing absolutely everything together. Meal times, studies, reading, singing, praying, gardening, house chores, chicken chores, art, music, playtime, baking, exploring the outdoors, and just so much more. Now, years into it, it all feels just so natural and it all just flows as a part of our daily life. Yes, homeschooling is a huge responsibility and it comes with challenges, and not every day is easy, but it is 100% worth it. Our kids are worth it. I am so thankful that our kids have the freedom to go outside and play or swing in the sunshine before or after breakfast if they want to, or lay on the trampoline and read their book with the fresh breeze on their skin and the birds singing in the trees above them. I always watch our kids through the window while they play, and I soak in these moments, and I admire the fact that they have this opportunity to enjoy their childhood. They get to truly discover who they are, what they like to do, what interests them, and they get to do it all through a slow-paced, joyful, and fulfilling kind of lifestyle. I love the way our family functions as one, and now we can't imagine having to ever be separated all day, ever again. As long as the Lord wills, we plan to continue this lifestyle and grow in it, and hopefully one day have many acres and have lots of animals and a bigger garden. And we hope that our children will follow in our footsteps. And that is our homeschool story. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed that, please don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of this kind of content in the future.